Hey there YouTube, this is the Marines Man. I'm coming to you with a review on the Ruger Pellet gun, the AirHawk. Start off with first impressions. Basically, I currently modified my stock here, so this is the original stock. We got a couple of these. I basically carved out some of the stock within here because it kind of rejects your palm, more comfort. Then I got it from sportsmansguide.com. It cost about $100. The rifle is break action, which means that right in here, to cock it, you're going to just pull it all the way down until you hear it click and it stops. It comes with shooting glasses, a 4x32 fixed power AirHawk scope. That is not the one you currently see on here. I use it on the Airsoft Scar L review. You'll see it on there. It has a manual. Make sure you read the manual. There's some interesting things about this pellet gun that you may not have known. For instance, something I probably blew was you're not supposed to ever dry fire it because the spring without anything to push against slams too hard and it could start messing with your consistency, which is, I'll get to that when I get to accuracy. According to factory, it shoots around 1,000 feet per second. I have not been able to test that because I do not have a chronograph with me, but I guess I'll want to take their word for it because it shoots pretty fast. If it's not 1,000, it's definitely around 900. According to the manual, it has a danger zone of about 500 yards. I don't think you could honestly hit anything out maybe past 200 yards, and with 200 yards, that's with a pretty good shot. But I suppose if you get hit by a flyer, maybe. It has an adjustable trigger. Now, the interesting thing about this is it's not an adjustable trigger, as in you can adjust trigger pull, like from maybe 4 to 2 pounds or whatever. This adjustable trigger, it's unloaded, so I can pull on this. What it does is there's a screw right in there, which you can see, and when you turn it clockwise, it shortens the trigger pull. So right now I have it set to about that much, and it's going to fire. Hold on. The safety is up here. I'm trying to pull that out. It's disengaged. So and you can set it all the way back to fire, all the way back in there. But when you do that, it becomes very wobbly back and forth, and it just does not like to stay very crisp at all. So I would suggest keeping it a short pull. Now, if you set it too short, it becomes short to the point of where it will not engage the safety anymore. Now, the safety on this, what it does is, when it comes out, you can see that piece right there, it blocks the trigger from moving up. If you make this too tight, it'll fire within this range, so your safety becomes completely inactive. The weight of the gun with no scope is approximately 8.16 pounds. The length is 44.8 inches. The barrel length is 18.7 inches. Overall length was the other one. Cocking effort to pull it down is about 30 pounds. And, oh, this is interesting. When you're looking at a gun, it says all over the box you get Ruger. You'd assume, I mean, like right here, Ruger AirHawk, or Ruger symbol, all that. But you flip it around, and you read up in here, right there, it's made in China. So, I don't like things made in China, and that may have a problem to do with why this gun is not working according to its specs. But I don't know. I don't like their manufacturing process. It's licensed. There's a guy by the name of Iraqi veteran 8888 who talks about he had a video called Names or something like that. It has to do with gun names, just kind of showing that things are not always made where they said they are. Current rifle setup. Basically what I have is, this is, as I said, it's the same stock as that. It's just the difference is I repainted it, I just used spray paint, but I made sure I sanded it, got some, gave it a pre-layer and whatnot, and it came out pretty well. Then I used sports tape for like a bat or something, just put it along here because I'd like to have some kind of grip. And then I took down a whole lot of this stock, and I also thinned out right in here, and it fits your hand real nice, as opposed to the other one which just doesn't it just does not fit very well. It feels like your palm is just, it basically forces your elbow way up, and I don't enjoy shooting like that at all. So now the optics, it has one weaver rail, which you can see on this one, right here. It's not that long, it's probably about 5.5 inches. So that's enough to put just about anything you want on there. I don't know if they sell a weaver to Picatinny adapter. If they do, that would be awesome, so you can put any kind of red dot you might want on there. But right now I just use scopes. The current scope I have on there is a let me check. Oh, it's a Tasco 6x32 and fixed power. So the ammo that I found that uses best is the Crossman. It's the Crossman 17 caliber pointed hunting pellets. I tried out the Daisy pellets. They seem to be I don't know what it is with them. They seem to be a bit wider. So when you actually put them in the barrel, they really don't fit very well. And then it like magnifies any inconsistency your gun has. It'll magnify it by like 100, and it's just very, very difficult to get any shots on. Because I mean, you'll hit the target once, and then all of a sudden you'll completely miss, like hitting into the trees with the next shot. I shoot normally at about 50 yards, but the rate of fire at this is pretty much as fast as you can do the whole cocking mechanism. Load a pellet and then shoot it. It's probably around, I think I got 3 accurate shots within 30 seconds. So it's probably about 6 shots per minute. Then durability. I have had problems. The reason this one is apart right now is I'm kind of using it for parts for this one. The gun up top, right here, when you pull this lever down, this spring goes back to the trigger mechanism and it does not engage. I do not know why it is not engaging, but it'll come down. Sometimes it does. Without touching the trigger, it'll just fire by itself, and right now that's extremely dangerous, especially with a gun that has the FPS they're talking about. So that's, for me, is a major problem, and I do not at all, I really just don't like this gun anymore just because of that, and I don't want things to happen, especially like that. There was a time when cocked it down, loaded a pellet, and it snapped back up on me a shot. I had it pointed at the ground, so it just went into the ground, but it was like kind of unnerving when your rifle does that. The barrel and whole upper action is blued, which means actually I'm not quite sure how they blew a rifle, but it's basically as opposed to being I can think of the word right now, painted, or there's another one. It is all the World War II rifles. And I'll think of it. But anyway, it's just not very durable as far as water goes. So this gun will rust if you don't keep it lubricated or have some kind of oil on it or grease. Just a very thin coating. You don't need very much, but just enough to keep it so it stays in the original fashion of no rust or anything like that. Then everything else on here is pretty durable. You have a good wooden stock. No problems there. Everything is metal except for the trigger guard. There are a few pins to be aware of when you take this gun apart. There's one here, and then I took this one out because I needed it for that one. And there's also a spring in here which I needed for that one that got lost, which is why I'm bringing it up, just because when you strip it down, make sure all those pins don't go flying out. And then the sights. Now the regular, obviously I use scopes, so I don't really use the iron sights. Watch, it's the optics right here, but right on there it's a very thin piece of plastic holding this one and this one in place. I mean, there's a time I bumped it against a tree on that one, and front sight goes flying off. So, like, not the sight piece here, but I mean like the actual little fiber optic piece. So you got to be careful of that. Next we have the disassembly of the gun. Disassembly is very simple. It's simply 3 screws. You're going to take off, which are going to be here. There's one on the opposite side there, and there's one under here you have to take out. And then this whole upper action will come out, and you'll see what you have there. Then I'm going to take out the trigger guard. You take out this rear screw, and that will come out. And that's about it as far as assembly. And then you can further disassemble it by taking this rod. Now, this isn't disassembling it, but it's simply It's for more compactability. And you're just going to pull this out. You're just going to fold it over like so. And to reassemble, you're just going to slip it in as best you can, and then just straighten it and just back together. It's not going anywhere. So it can go in a pretty small package. The biggest part of this gun is probably the stock, actually, as far as when you're trying to break it down, because that's just this solid piece of wood. You can't really break that down any further. Cleaning this rifle, simply is going to require a cloth or Q-tip of some sort to run all these little areas with a little bit of oil, probably a break-free gun cleaner of some sort would be great. Then you're going to want to just make sure you have these areas sectioned here lubed up. You're going to want to have this spring area, not too much, but just a little bit of oil in there. It doesn't take very much. I mean, I've shot a couple thousand rounds through this without any problems. Or that one more like, this is the one that started giving me issues. I shot about 700 or 800 through this one. Once you get past about 1,000 round, I think when these guns just start having problems, because this is a pretty big spring. It's just slamming against here every shot. So when you multiply that by 1,000 to 2,000 or 1,500 to 2,000 times, you're going to start having some issues. It's just the way this is. It's just kind of like maintenance, I guess. This piece up front, does not serve any real purpose as far as sound barriers go. It's just basically something to grasp onto without grasping onto the metal. And then that's about the best you're going to get as far as assembly goes. The next we have the accuracy. Now accuracy, I don't really want to talk about too much with this rifle just because I don't feel like I haven't been able to test it very well. But I'm going to show you what I have had. The reason I haven't been able to test it once again is because of the dry fire, which we'll get to in a minute. But this is a can that I had at about 50 yards, and I put 4 shots here, and 1 flyer was there. It was faced like this. So that's about, I mean, that's not a big distance. It's probably about a little over an inch, or a little under an inch, probably about 3/4 inch. So I'm going to go with that. About 3/4 inch is able to hold a group when it's firing correctly at about 50 yards. At 100 yards, I've hit a couple targets, but I didn't even think about going to 100 yards until after I'd fired a lot of shots. And by that time, the gun had already decided to go haywire on me with the inconsistency of air, so it starts throwing your shots everywhere. The dry fire now. Basically what happens is, as I said earlier, if you dry fire this, it'll do something to your spring where it will not, or spring or the air chamber, I'm not sure which, but it just starts being very inconsistent. So you'll zero your rifle in. As soon as you think you have it zeroed, it'll fire about 4 or 5 shots in that little area. Then all of a sudden, it'll go off about 10 inches one way or the other, and it's really weird. Sometimes it'll be 10, sometimes it'll be 3. It's a very random margin, but it'll just kind of hop around on you. And as far as durability goes, I don't like that ever happening to any rifles I want to own. So this one's one of those that it's kind of questionable whether I like this or not. As far as a pellet gun, it's not bad. Then philosophy of use, or POU. Basically, you could use it for hunting small game. Anything bigger than maybe a raccoon or groundhog, you're probably going to have some issues taking down. Even those are relatively large, because your pellet is not that big. Then other than that, as far as hitting power, I've shot it at wood and things like that. It's gone through about a good 1/4 inch of pine. And it'll go through that. After that, though, it loses way too much velocity and you just can't punch through it. Some, after going through the tin can, they'll hit the wood and they just don't go anywhere. They just stop there and fall off. And you have a small indentation, so it doesn't hold. As far as it's flying through the air, it's fine. But as soon as it hits something, it does not hold very much body weight or mass to the round, so it just stops real quick. Target shooting. This will magnify everything you know about target shooting. When you're shooting this, it involves so much trigger control and follow through, simply because the round, instead of going 2,000 or 2,500 feet per second, it's going 1,000 feet per second. I'm comparing this to a 22 or a 5.56. Basically, any anything that uses gunpowder is going to go faster than this. Maybe a 22 short might go around the same. But when you're shooting this, as far as pulling the trigger, you have to go very slowly, and as soon as it breaks, you have to keep that gun perfectly still. Otherwise, any kind of movement, the round has not yet left the barrel, and this becomes difficult when you have the spring because it's a very heavy action moving forward. But any movement in the end of that barrel, and your round is going to go off. Not much, but it'll go off, so it messes up with your shot after shot consistency right on target. As far as now, if you're going to use this, if you had to, as a defense weapon of some sort against another person or someone threatening you, the best place to shoot them would probably have to be in the neck or the stomach, simply because, or at least at 50 yards or beyond. Anything closer, which is more likely, probably the head. It will definitely not kill them. It's not going to penetrate enough bone or anything like that, but it'll give them a headache for a while, if anything. Then that's about it. So this is the Marines man signing off. This is the Ruger AirHawk Pellet gun. They have another one version that's AirHawk Elite, which is, I don't know if it's much better, but it has a different style stock on it and whatnot. Scopes, if I were you, or getting this rifle, I'd probably go with a mil-dot scope, just because it's nice to be able to practice your ranging and whatnot. I currently have a single crosshair reticle, no dots or anything like that, basic. But this is the Marines man signing off. If you have any questions, be sure to comment, subscribe, like, whatever you need, spread this around. Anything else you want me to review, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Thank you.